Part 1. White Clouds. Guardian Moon. Where the goddess dwells. Long ago, the guardian Saros made an appearance during this moon. She had been summoned by the goddess, whose soul was suffering as the flames of war raged across Fodlan. Some believe that high in the sky above Saros, the Immaculate One's mighty wings are what powered the strong winds carrying the Guardian and her forces into battle.
Hey, Professor, got a minute? Look, I'm sorry I snapped at you. I didn't mean to lose my temper. I was rude to you. I should have known better. Huh, I thought you might say that. In that way, you're just like Captain Jeralt. You accept other people. You don't let petty details get under your skin. Well, when I was a kid, I kind of latched onto him. I've been calling myself his apprentice ever since. He spent some time in the village I grew up in. Actually, you weren't with him back then. Why not? Huh. Maybe he left you with a relative or something. Anyway, back then, Jeralt's job was to deal with poachers. Well, they were bandits, but we called them poachers. Nobody in the village could stand up to them. But your dad, he took them on like it was nothing. I was so impressed. All I could think was how amazing mercenaries were. I'd lived in that tiny village my whole life, so to me, Captain Jeralt was nothing short of a legend. So I went right up to him and I told him I was going to be his apprentice. He didn't stick around long after that, but he did teach me a lot while he was with us. Tactics, strategy, training routines, it was all so new and exciting. So after he left, I kept at it, kept training, just like he taught me. Me too. I always planned to meet him again once I became a top-tier mercenary. But I'm just glad I got to see him, to thank him properly and all. I've spent my whole life working to become a great mercenary like your father. There were so many times when I wanted to ask his advice, but I couldn't. I just had to make do. That's how I've made it this far. Just hard work, all on my own. But then you come along. And it's like you don't appreciate Captain Jeralt at all, or how lucky you were to have him around your whole life. No, it still really bothers me. You might be his kid, but I'm still his best apprentice. Got it?
Sort of a bad time, don't you think?
You're here again. Professor, you've been crying. So, even you cry sometimes. Oh, I suppose that was thoughtless of me to say. My teacher, you're so blinded by grief that you can't see what's going on right in front of you. Are you waiting for time to heal your wounds? Or have you curled up in a corner and lost the will to carry on? It does. You've lost yourself. Only you can truly understand your own sadness. Others can sympathize or even empathize, but all anyone else can offer are the tears of an outsider looking in. So I have no intention of crying for you, or of standing still with you. All I can do is promise to reach out my hand when the time comes for me to move forward. The mysterious organization that was carrying out experiments in Remire Village and the chapel, they're up to something near Garreg Mach. The Archbishop has sent the Knights to undertake a large-scale investigation. No information has surfaced yet, but our enemies will soon be discovered. When they are, will you lead us into battle? Or will you just sit here, with no thought for the future that is fast approaching? My teacher, there is a choice to be made. I hope you make the right one.
My. She really is quite arrogant. She spoke her mind without an ounce of reservation. But she is right. The time has come to stand again. You know already what your answer is.
Oh, thank you. You saved me.
If you were to die, then the mystery of our bodies would be revealed. Preventing that was my only aim. I'm afraid you must remain, Kronya. There is something I need you to do.
Oh, of course. I am always happy to cooperate with Solon. Leave it to me.
How annoying.
Flame Emperor, is she offending you? Unfortunately, we cannot take our eyes off her, so there is nothing to be done. You are our greatest creation. We use the defiled beast's blood as the fuel to your flame, that you may burn even the gods. Now is the time to cleanse Fodlan with that power and bring forth our salvation.
There will be no salvation for you and your kind. Those responsible for such gruesome deeds in Dusker and Enmar.
All so that you may acquire the strength you need. All for a purpose.
Thank you.
I always feel bad whenever that happens, Ingrid. Your birthday could not come at a worse time. But at least he's making an attempt, unlike Leone. My god. Hey everyone, welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses Black Eagle Edition. In the last episode, we went from the highs and highs to the lowest of lows. And we lost Jeralt, if you can already gather that. And our students are not being the most kind to us. They're just telling us to shut up, nut up, and move on. Which I can understand in some ways, but everyone needs time to heal. So, with that, we're not going to be fighting at all. Instead, there's no paralogs to do, so I feel like we should just take time and just, well, I take comfort in everything around us.
If you must weep, then weep. I shall be here for you. Well, it would be ridiculous to not feel anything after something like that. Go on and let it out. I am here.
And I do like that little cutaway way there. It gives the impression that, yeah, something did happen during that cutaway. It's just the minor little details you love. And speaking of minor details, yeah, you can probably hear right now, the music's changed. No longer happy-go-lucky, no longer, you know, full of whimsy and magic. It's just sober and somber, and just gives the impression of, well, just gotta carry on, just like everyone is telling us to. And honestly, I kinda dig this motif. It really is nice, with the feels and everything. Granted, I feel like it could have been done a lot better because we had Leone directly right after all this happened. The narrative basis, it definitely ruins a couple of things, there's no denying that. Not to mention with the fact that Hero God's like saying, hey, Professor, we gotta go kill again. It just seems very, very weird. But, with that said, we will just go around, just gonna go around the monastery, talk to people, and just see if they all know a thing or two about our dad.
Professor, thank you for all you have done for us. Nothing to report today.
Even the small flavor text is awesome. And I feel like as we're going to go around the monastery here, I just want to give a personal story on like loss and whatnot. I mean, everyone suffers loss when it comes to like family, friends, and whatnot. There are just some, and just sometimes which someone who you don't know directly, but just in passing, or just of someone who's like done I guess a favor for you, or just been like someone who you really looked up to. I don't know. I've had that a few times, and honestly, without those couple of people, I wouldn't be here making videos with you, or at least have the passion for video games as I do now. So loss is different for everyone. No. Enough about me. Let's just talk to other people if we wish.
There is no one here who has not heard tales of Jeralt's valor. We have suffered a most dear loss. I do not know what the enemy's aim was, but I do know this. After what they have done, we cannot suffer them to live. If there is anything I can do to ensure that justice is brought swiftly, you need only give the word.
Dear Goddess. Professor, it seems like you're holding up okay, but I'm worried about Leonie. She really loved Jeralt. I hope she can bounce back. I'll say a prayer for Jeralt's soul. There's not much else I can do.
Another reason why I really like this part of the month is that it shows a great side of every character. Even someone like Lorenz, who I've not been the kindest to.
Dark expressions don't suit you, Professor. But I'm glad to see you out in the world again. It seems this month will be a quiet one around here. There aren't many knights around to liven things up.
Most of the knights are gone, seeking out the enemy.
Isn't that a bit much? I agree it's important, but is it a good idea to neglect the safety of the monastery?
What do you think, Professor?
This has an effect on affinity on both characters.
I agree. We can send some knights after our enemies, but so many? It makes the church seem reckless.
I guess on one final note about this is that I do kind of like the way he goes about it, even though in some cases it is heavy-handed and quickly rushed. But at the same time, though, that's somehow life goes in general. You don't really have time to mourn when things are like this. It is a nice example of like, loss sucks, but you gotta move on sometimes.
Captain Jeralt's gone. He's gone. And we'd only just reunited. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is even harder on you. But I just can't. I can't believe.
Putting on a tough guy act when it's like this, I can kind of forgive it. It doesn't excuse it though. I kind of wish they put that support in a different place, or they could have had that be the C support. I don't know.
Professor, I'm so happy to see you. You're finally returning to your old self. To see the light in your eyes again is a gift. It inspires me to carry on as well. As you know, the Knights are searching furiously for any trace of the enemies who escaped. I'll inform you immediately if I learn anything relevant.
Professor, please lend us your ears. Ferdinand is saying impossible things.
I do not see what is impossible about it. All I said was that if you want to go back to Brigid, you probably can. You are the Empire's guest, so to speak. They cannot afford for something bad to happen to you. There would be a diplomatic incident. Someone close to us has turned up dead. So one could argue that you are not safe here anymore.
You were already told. I am learning here, from the Academy. What are you thinking, Professor?
am not returning to home until I have grabbed my goal. I will not be listening to the words of Ferdinand.
No, look, I did not mean to pressure you. Apologies for the misunderstanding.
Much like every conversation of every girl you've ever talked to, you dig yourself your own hole.
I'm so glad you're okay, Professor. I was so worried. Oh, Professor, you must be starving. Mercy and I made some sweets for you. We were thinking that if you were to eat something sweet, it might help you feel better. Baking sweets is my specialty. I'm sure they'll do the trick.
I don't know what it is, but just seeing every character with us now in the house just feels kind of wholesome. It kind of softens the blow a little bit. I don't know, I just like the image of just like every character from every house just giving us a hug. And that's the kind of thing you can think about, you know, when you have something like this happen. You can just think of this.
Hi.
Or think of thoughts like that.
Professor, I brought some flowers for Jeralt. It's the least I can do. Sometimes I feel like all I do is run away. Anyway, I'll go lay them out.
And it even brings people like Bernie out. And that's special. And another thing that's special. We gotta change. Our mom and her dad are here. And just like us, we never really know how old we are. Weird. I wonder if we'll get into that someday. Who knows? You don't have to hear what Linhart's gotta say.
Professor?
I slipped quietly into the vault and rummaged about, looking for anything we might find useful. There is a group of people who want to kill us, after all. What? This is no time for asking permission. I learned long ago that one can ask permission or forgiveness. It is rarely useful to request the former. Still, it appears the knights have already taken everything useful. There were crest-related objects I thought might be worth studying, so... There you go again with that stern look. Of course I'll put them back when I'm done, assuming they bear no additional use.
I've heard of a flower trap, but Jesus Christ. I appreciate the guard. Here, Professor, I'm doing a stupid idiot dance to help cheer you up. Left, right, left, right. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I'm stuck in a flower bed. Oh, felt the hilarity. Well, he's dead now. He's doomed to be in that spot for all eternity and starve to death.
Hey, you.
Also, naturally, we go back in the church, and just to clarify one thing, nothing has changed. You can still do your daily activities and whatnot. However, the only thing that's changed is, of course, as you can imagine, Jeralt is no longer here to take time out of your day.
Excuse me. Not just Tomas, but Monica too. We can't be sure who to trust anymore, can we? Who are these people really? What do they want?
Many good questions. And honestly, just on a surface level, I kind of wish the game got to more of a point with that. But again, though, they are food for thoughts for another time when we've seen more of what this game has to offer.
I'm scared. I feel that I don't understand the world. How could something like that happen to Jeralt? He was so strong. You're inspiring, Professor. I'll do my best.
I'm sure you will. And also, I will say, I really do like hearing all the stories about Jeralt. I just kind of wish we saw it more. Whether in dialogue, or even in cutscenes, I guess.
Professor, how are you holding up? I know how heavily grief weighs upon one's heart. I lost my mother some time ago. It was... Forgive me my moment of weakness. Even all these years later, I cannot recall that time without feeling the pain as if it were brand new. Just know that I am praying for your mind and your heart to find peace.
First Tomas, and now Monica. I do have a theory, though I admit it is nothing more than speculation. Both Tomas and Monica have each gone missing at one time or another. It was reported that when Monica returned from her disappearance, she began to act like a completely different person. As if, perhaps, the real Monica had been killed and replaced by an imposter. Thinking of it like that, it is possible that this Solon had been impersonating Tomas for some time. How they managed such a convincing change of appearance, though, I still do not understand.
It's magic? I hate to be blunt and try and act comedic, but...
Really?
Dude, we live in a place in which demonic beasts are a thing.
Oh, is something hiding just behind that book? That ring! I have seen it before. Ah, I know. Jeralt showed that ring to you beside a grave. Do you recall? He said he wished for you to have that ring one day. That means it's yours. He also said that you should gift that ring to someone special.
And that is a small incentive on long-term game. Of course, if you've played other Fire Emblem games, you know what that means. But for those who don't and who are watching this for the first time, because again, we like to talk, in this current playthrough, we like to talk as if someone is playing this for the first time. Whoever you like more as a character, spend more time with them. Preferably if they can get you to an S rank with them. Then, well, it's your choice.
I have something rather uncomfortable to discuss. It's about the weapon that killed Jeralt. Will you listen? It was a dagger, but I know enough to know it wasn't an ordinary dagger. It wasn't made of iron or steel because, well, because whatever it was, the wound it left wasn't normal. Who could make a blade like that, do you figure?
I wish you would tell us what kind of dagger it was.
You've lost someone very dear to you. I'm so... You have my sympathy. Manuela and I can take on some of your workload this month. We can't do all the teaching, but at least we can lighten the load for you. I've always seen strength in your eyes. I know you'll recover. You're a very strong person.
Now I've said something nice to you. Will you let me look at that crest?
Right. I wonder who they were.
And oddly enough, Manuela has two pieces of unique dialogue, but they come out separately, and one of them is just a simple text. Or a simple, like, one piece of dialogue. I can't see why they couldn't put that second one into the first, but what do I know? I'm not a programmer. And also, a little bit of a fun fact. Hang on, I'll say it afterwards.
You have lost your father. Now more than ever, do I understand how very lucky I am that you were able to save me. Professor, I deeply appreciate what you have done. Thank you. If there is anything at all I can do in return, please tell me, okay?
Buff up, please. Learn how to use the sword, and also, can I say how kind of creepy it is? This current shot right here that we're seeing, Flayn alone in a room, Hubert standing behind pillars and suits of armor, kind of creepy. And we're here just ruining the moment. If anyone though, a little piece of detail in this current month on the map, objectively less NPCs are seen walking around the monastery. Less chances for you to interact with them, walk in into them and them like saying a one piece of dialogue. It was a developer's choice to, quote, encourage the form of isolation, yet incentivize to make you seek out talking to other people, aka your students. And that's pretty much what we're doing now. We're feeling a little bit on the alone side, so we're speaking to everyone around us who really matters.
I've sung lyrics lamenting death many times on stage, but when something like this happens in real life, I'm lost. I don't know what to say, but I do know this much. Sir Jeralt must have been very proud to have you as his child.
Aha, take that, nameless NPCs, especially you, tournament giver.
I'm not even close to being strong enough. I mean, Jeralt was so much stronger than me, but even that's enough. I can't dwell on the past. There's no way to know what my future holds, but I do know one thing. Whatever happens, I have to make my own way in this world. I have to keep pushing so I can grow even stronger.
Raphael, can you not smile at that, please?
You gotta keep yourself active during tough times, Professor. Even if it seems impossible. That's how I got through it when I lost my parents. If you need help with anything, just come and see me. Eating and training are my specialties.
No, you lughead.
I'm so sorry about what happened to Jeralt. No, of course my sorrow is nothing compared to yours. The Knights are even now searching for our enemy's whereabouts. They are to report back the moment they find something. If you desire revenge, Professor, you can count me in.
Noted. Suddenly angry boy. I will I'll definitely keep you in mind if there are necks to break. Oh god. Now Claude, where might you be hiding?
Teach. I haven't lost a parent yet, so I can't even begin to understand how you must be feeling. But even while you're standing still, the world keeps on moving. I always find that oddly comforting.
Do you have time for a request?
This is probably the most inappropriate time to ask us to do any kind of side mission for you. Just going to say that outright, I don't dig it. It's okay. I know you're kind of moping about your dad dying and all that. But can you deliver this letter to my senpai? Oh my god, isn't Cyril such a dreamboat? It's like, yeah, and I have no temptation to kick you into a nearest river and keep you in there. Unfortunately though, the marketplace still remains its jovial self, but this is not really used for narrative purposes. This is where the meat potatoes are for story, for feels, and for general tone of the game. for the most part, I feel like this nails it well. I feel though there's nothing more to do. We haven't really got any incentive to learn about a certain craft to recruit everyone, because we have all of our close friends here. But we will be doing a couple of meals and a couple of training things off screen. I just get us ahead, and next time on Fire Emblem Three Houses, I feel like we could probably skip to the meat and potatoes if all things go well.
I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks.
You could have had, like, no dialogue during that time. Just saying, it's like, Jeralt's dead. I can't believe it. He was my oh, thanks, a flower. What? Sort of, guys, this hasn't been much of a, action-packed or a very like, progressive episode. But still, though, when a game wants to be somber, I don't see a problem in taking in that atmosphere and just, letting it sink in and just hearing everyone out. I feel like overall, it sets the tone. You know what? I kind of like it. And hopefully you guys do too. But, with that said, I think we should end it here. So, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this episode, then please be sure to like it. We really appreciate the support. But if you dislike it, well then, I hope you can do the same thing we have to do now. But hopefully, guys, we'll be doing the same thing as one of my inspirations would always say. Keep moving forward. So, guys, we'll see you next time, as we do just that.